What's going on, guys? Today I wanted to try and do another follow-up video. This one's going to be more directly talking about the Sovol SV08. I believe I really just didn't do a video about this printer well enough as it deserves, because this has turned out to be my favorite printer I've owned. This printer, I mean, it's not, I don't have the enclosure. I'm missing all the upgrades besides, I have the screen, but not having the enclosure means I'm missing filtration. It stops me from being able to print some of the other filaments that currently I'm just printing in the QD-Tech Q1 Pro. So this printer really just prints PLA and PETG. I am currently printing this Creality Hyper Series PLA. They had a really good deal going on. I think I bought 10 rolls of this filament and a Creality filament dryer, and I want to say it was like, we're talking 100 and something bucks. I mean, it was like ridiculously cheap. I think this filament's normally almost $20 a roll. I do like that it has this little thing you can see. Oh, thought I had it on zoom. Little thing you can see here where it shows you, how much filament you have left. Little gauge, I guess. And the print I'm throwing on the printer right now is actually, I think, a little over 400 grams, and I wasn't sure if I had enough, so I went and checked, and I think that's showing I got about right under 600, so we should be good to do this print. The printer, I just actually powered the printer back on. Whenever I'm not printing with these printers, I flip the power switches on both of them since they're both not silent at idle. So I went ahead and flipped both of them on just for the video. I don't really have anything right now I want to print on the QD-Tech. I have TPU on this printer set up right now in that filament dryer. So that's kind of just, I've been using this one for TPU right now, and the Sovol for PETG and PLA. But I also have a FlashForge 5M that I really like printing TPU on. So eventually I'll switch TPU back over to the FlashForge, and then the QD-Tech Q1 Pro will be for everything else, like ABS, nylons, carbon fiber, anything that takes advantage of the heated chamber and the hardened steel nozzle and the higher, I think 350C nozzle temp. But I want to go ahead and just talk a little bit more about the Sovol. I kind of stopped posting anything about it when it hurt itself or killed itself, depending on how you want to look at it. But I did have a pretty common issue happen on this printer where the nozzle dropped out, like it started to come out of the hot end, crashed with the bed, and it damaged the nozzle and the bed. And I just want to go ahead and address that whole thing, because honestly it was about as good as the experience could have went. Within about 4 hours of this happening, I had emailed Sovol, and Sovol had already sent me a tracking number. Pretty much they were like, hey, if you're knowledgeable enough to let us know what you think you need without a technician having to get involved to kind of tell you, let us know and we'll go ahead and get you some stuff sent out. And so I let them know I wanted a bed and I wanted a new hot end. I went ahead and said the hot end because I didn't want to say nozzle and then there'd be a problem with the hot end since it took such an impact. And it was, very quickly, considering Sovol isn't, I don't think at this point they had a warehouse set up in the US or not, I'm not sure. But it was within, I think, about 2 weeks or so. They had sent me the new bed and the new hot end. I threw the new bed on and I replaced the hot end, and since then this printer has not failed a single print. I'm talking, if you go on my Orca, every single print I've done since that print failed has been green. Haven't had a single fail, haven't had a single part come off that the quality wasn't up to the standards that I would have liked. I was trying to look around to see, I just printed a pretty interesting print with it. I don't see it. But just generally speaking, this printer has been absolutely flawless. It prints extremely fast. By far the fastest printer I own. I did update in my last video that I did get rid of the X1 Carbon. As you can see, this is where the X1 Carbon was, and now it's got some racing sim stuff, but it also is just my filament storage. I need to move these racing sim boxes out and I need to eventually bring in my FlashForge 5M and throw it in here for TPU. But for right now, I just have these two printers set up. My Infomec, I let a buddy go ahead and get, who was really wanting the X1 Carbon, but he just couldn't make it happen. You can see this thing's dirty, but the X1 Carbon, it was giving me issues all the way to the day I sold it. It's always something with that damn machine. I don't know if I just got a bad lemon or what. But the Soval has been working really good. The print quality, everything has just been nothing to complain about. You know, it did have that one issue, and that really sucked because it was doing so well before. And on top of that, I emailed Soval after. Keep in mind, I didn't pay for anything but the printer. I did not give them shipping, nothing. I emailed them after and asked, you know, I don't think I got the updated nozzle. Can y'all send me one? And without a question, they sent me out the updated nozzle. It has this little holes here you can see. This is a like a pen you put in or whatever, and it holds the nozzle in, so that's cool. I wasn't sure if I was even going to use it because I was thinking I might swap out the hot end or do something like that, but I don't know, man. The printer just prints so well that I kind of thinking like I might just leave it how it is. Eventually throw that nozzle in so that I can feel a little more safe printing PETG. Because right now I'm printing PLA, I shouldn't have any issues with the nozzle trying to come out the hot end. But I'm not going to try and print PETG on this machine until I do this, because I don't want to risk damaging the bed. Keep in mind, the beds on these things aren't terribly expensive, so like if Soval wouldn't have covered the bed and the nozzle, it wouldn't have been that big of a deal. And at the point of failure, I think I had about 180 hours on the machine. And keep in mind, this printer, 180 hours on this printer is a lot more than your typical printer. It prints about twice as fast as even the faster printers, like my X1 Carbon. And so, this thing printing 100 hours is about the equivalent to my X1 Carbon printing 200 hours, because it's just moving so much quicker. It's actually printing way more. And so that's like something that you may not think about with the Soval. I know the communities that I'm in for the Soval groups, the modding and everything is just going crazy with these things. But honestly, just completely original out the box, it's been a really impressive printer. You know, it's not like the Q1 Pro where it can do all kinds of crazy stuff like heated chamber and whatnot, but the lighting on it, the LED light, really good. The only thing I would say downside on this printer whatsoever is that it's just a little loud. And some of that can be fixed with some settings. I know before I did a firmware update, I had a setting set to where pretty much instead of the fan running constantly, it would only kick on when the MCU got up to a certain temp. And if I would have upgraded that fan to just a little better cooling, I possibly could have got it to, cycle on even less. And if it was a quieter fan, that could have helped too. Most of the fan noise is going to be that MCU fan, which happens even at idle. So that is something. It would be cool if they'd update the firmware or something. But I think realistically, the best route is just to get a better fan. And if you buy one now, they could have already updated the fan to be a little better. I feel like it would have been, they could raise the price $20-$30 and throw a better fan on this thing, and it would just, it would change the whole experience if this thing wasn't, a little louder. But, unlike, I was looking at the FL Sun S1, I do have a desire for fast printers. But, it seems that the S1 isn't like the Soval. It is fast and loud, but it doesn't print well. And that's the difference. The Soval, it is fast, it is a little loud, but it prints extremely well. And I don't believe this printer is anywhere near as loud as the S1 with that CPAP fan. But yeah, I just feel like I really let y'all down not making a post about this printer, because this thing has just been so awesome. It's by far, there's the reason there's only 2 printers on the table, and it's because I just don't want to use any other printer but my Soval. The QD Tech, I don't even want to use it if I can use the Soval, because this printer just prints so fast. It's so simple. I honestly don't think I'm going to put an enclosure or anything on it, because I like it being open and me being able to reach over and just grab prints off of it. I did get their screen, which I will regrettably say I wouldn't recommend probably buying the screen, just because I had this idea that the screen they were going to send was going to be designed to replace this main screen, which I thought would have been nice, and that wasn't quite that. And so I believe this is just an overpriced regular clipper screen. So I would just buy any other screen. I mean, even buy a bigger screen or something, and then 3D print a mount to either go down here and replace this, or 3D. I've seen some that come up here and mount on the top. Anything like that, you'll get a little more value for your money. I do believe the enclosure seems like a really good value, even though I probably won't be looking into it just because the way I'm using this printer. I think unenclosed is just better. But as you can see, we are printing a pretty massive print. This is kind of the advantages of having something like a Soval. This print is nowhere near max capacity for this printer, but it might be a little too big to fit on something like the QD-Tech Q1 Pro. It definitely wouldn't fit in my my Flashforge 5M. It probably wouldn't have fit in the X1 Carbon either. So yeah, I just wanted to do that updated video, kind of to let y'all know the Soval performing amazing, super highly recommended. The company has by far been the most helpful of any of the printer companies that I've dealt with so far. Soval has been extremely fast to send me emails. They've been extremely helpful. Probably one of my favorite 3D print companies at this moment. Not that I believe they're doing anything too crazy, and not to discredit any other companies like Bamboo Labs, but they've been on their game. Did the printer come out with some issues? Yes. Were they extremely fast to address the issues, and were they willing to make it right with everyone? So far, that's what it seems. I did see they made some posts in some of the Soval groups, and pretty much were like, hey, if you have the printer, send us your order number and we'll send you one of these replacement nozzles. So they're making it right, and I think that says a lot, especially for companies that aren't, US based. I know a lot of more US people are a little less trustworthy of companies that aren't in the US, but I can tell you so far Soval has been on their game, and they were very good to deal with. And I wouldn't even hesitate to buy another printer from them, or if I needed to send them an email, I wouldn't even think twice that they won't take care of me. So I hope that helps anyone who's been thinking about getting one of these and hasn't got one. I'm not sure what the current pricing is, but I will check after when I'm uploading this video, and I will throw a link down in the description. It will be an affiliate link. Soval doesn't pay me or do anything like that. But I do have an affiliate link just to get a little kickback for sharing my experience and trying to funnel them some sales. I may do a similar video in the future on the QD-Tech Q1 Pro. It has also been a really good printer. I don't have as much print time on it just because the Soval has just been too fun to print on, that I just haven't really gave the Q1 Pro the time it probably deserves. But so far, the Q1 Pro has been awesome. I absolutely love the lighting, and it hasn't failed me at all. It's just been printing. It reminds me of the X1 Carbon as far as it's like a Swiss Army knife. It can just kind of do anything, aside from multicolor printing at this moment. It even has the little poop chute thing in the back. So it's just been a really good printer. It made it a lot easier for me to get rid of my X1 Carbon, because this thing I didn't lose any functionality for me since I don't multicolor print. But yeah, I hope y'all enjoyed the video. I will do another updated video when I come up with something to do. I've contemplated buying some other printers to throw in the mix to test. I really was wanting to get an FL Sun S1 or T1, but honestly, I'm kind of worried about getting into something that's going to give me a bunch of problems. I don't need a desk ornament, so that's why we got rid of the X1 Carbon. I don't want a bunch of problems. So, hope y'all enjoyed the video. Comment down below what you think. Let me know what your experience. If you have a Soval SV08, use the comment section as a way to voice your opinion or your experiences, whether good nor bad. I know not everyone's going to have the same exact experience, but I would guess that a lot of people are probably really enjoying their Sovols, and maybe just not as many people talking about it, because I feel like when people are just too busy printing, they don't talk about it. But when they have problems, that's when everyone talks. So, yep, comment down below. Hope y'all enjoyed the video. See y'all in the next one.